Walk along the shores of this California desert lake today, and you won't find sand crunching beneath your feet. You are walking on millions of pulverized, sun-bleached fish bones. Pull back from the bone fragments, and an entirely empty shoreline reveals itself. Look closely at the town of Bombay Beach, and you see boarded-up motels and rusting metal frames, quietly dissolving under a heavy crust of salt. Millions of travelers drive past the Coachella Valley every single year, speeding along the highway with the air conditioning running. Most have absolutely no idea they are passing the rotting corpse of America's most glamorous lost resort. Step out of the car today, and the heat hits 120 degrees. The air is stagnant, creating thick mirages that dance over the cracked mud. The only sound is the wind. Yet in the mid-20th century, this exact location was a booming destination. At its height, these shores hosted more annual tourists than Yosemite National Park. Which forces a question: how does a glittering playground for Hollywood's elite devolve into a silent expanse of salt and bone? To find the exact cause of death, we have to perform a forensic autopsy on this man-made ecosystem, peeling back the layers of time to see exactly how it was built and how it was broken. The investigation starts in 1905. We are not dealing with a natural wonder. The Salton Sea was born entirely from an engineering mistake. Water engineers were attempting to tame the massive Colorado River, cutting a canal to funnel irrigation water into California's dry Imperial Valley. However, the mighty river breached the canal. This topological map shows the sheer geographic reality of the error. The entire force of the Colorado River diverted off its natural path, tearing through the desert floor and pooling in a dry, low-lying basin known as the Salton Sea. The water rushed in unstopped for 2 full years before construction crews finally managed to plug the breach. When the dust settled, millions of gallons of water had formed an accidental inland ocean. California's largest lake was now sitting squarely in the middle of a desert. By the 1950s, real estate developers recognized a massive financial opportunity. They aggressively marketed this geographic accident as a luxury oasis, branding it the Desert Riviera. Small desert outposts exploded into bustling resort towns. Crowded marinas filled with speedboats, and yacht clubs hosted regular regattas on the blue water. It quickly gained elite status, acting as a personal weekend retreat for Hollywood regulars like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. To engineer the perfect ecosystem, developers stocked the water with millions of non-native corvina and tilapia fish. Families flocked here for world-class sport fishing and water skiing. For 2 decades, it represented the height of post-war optimism, a collective belief that humanity had successfully conquered the harsh limitations of the desert. But the biology of the Salton Sea carried a fatal flaw. It is a terminal lake. Rivers flow into it, but there is absolutely no natural outlet for the water to escape. This cross-section illustrates the mechanics of the trap. Under a 120-degree sun, water evaporates upward, but every dissolved mineral and chemical is trapped, settling and concentrating at the bottom of the basin. The toxic catalyst was the source of the lake's water. For decades, massive farms in the Imperial Valley drained their agricultural runoff directly into the sea, heavily laced with nitrogen, phosphorus, and commercial pesticides. As the fresh water constantly evaporated, the salinity steadily climbed until it was saltier than the Pacific Ocean. The concentrated farm nutrients triggered massive algal blooms, which rapidly stripped the water of its oxygen. The ecosystem collapsed in a matter of days. Millions of fish suffocated simultaneously, washing ashore to form horrific, miles-long silver waves. A suffocating stench of rotting hydrogen sulfide gas settled over the entire region. The tourists immediately packed their bags. The resorts were abandoned, and the local economy bankrupted. The collapse followed the brutal logic of a closed system. Forcing a desert basin to absorb decades of chemical runoff leads to a single, inevitable breaking point. Returning to the present day, the danger has mutated. Due to modern droughts and updated water transfer agreements, the agricultural runoff has slowed, and the Salton Sea is shrinking rapidly. As the water recedes, it exposes the playa, the barren lakebed. This dried mud acts as a toxic powder keg, holding a century's worth of settled arsenic and agricultural poisons. When ferocious desert winds whip across this exposed playa, they lift those settled chemicals into the atmosphere, blowing suffocating dust clouds directly into nearby towns. The rotting coastline has transformed into an active public health emergency. Imperial Valley communities now face some of the highest childhood asthma and respiratory hospitalization rates in the country. Yet, deep beneath the mud and the geothermal fields bordering the sea, a massive deposit of lithium has been discovered. Energy companies are rapidly moving in to extract this white gold. It is a high-stakes gamble. The resulting billions could finally provide the state with the funding needed to submerge the exposed playa and suppress the toxic dust, or it could simply fuel a new cycle of industrial exploitation. The Salton Sea remains a harsh monument to the boundary between human ambition and the laws of biology. We built a paradise of water in the desert, but ignored the tomb of salt we were leaving behind. If you want to explore more dark history and modern ruins, hit the subscribe button, and let us know in the comments below, what forgotten environmental disaster should we investigate next?